Hello, dear audience, and welcome to the presentation of International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, so called MarPol 73/78. So today we will discuss the requirements, the regulations of Annex 2 of MarPol, regulations for the control of pollution by noxious liquid substances in bulk, carried in bulk by sea. So this is second annex of MarPol Convention. So, and here on the slide you see the typical chemical tankers, which are carrying liquid chemicals. Chemical tankers are special tankers. General characteristics of parcel tankers, also chemical tankers sometimes can be referred to parcel tankers. Often they have great diversity of tanks. Often they have tanks on deck. Each tank has its own cargo line, so-called dedicated system. Each tank of this chemical tanker has its own vapor return line. Per tank, a deep well pump is required. Strengthening on deck inside and double bottom tanks. So next specific, it's a segregated ballast system. Segregated ballast system. Stainless steel or coated tanks. So and these stainless steel or coated tanks prevent from the corrosion because the chemicals are very aggressive substances. So here you see the link to the YouTube where the deep well cargo handling system for the product and chemical tankers. It's you can watch it and it visually will explain you the specification of deep well cargo handling system. So on the slide, on this picture, you can see how it works. So it's a pump which is pumping the leftovers of chemical in tanks from this system. So this is another picture. So on top of this picture you see the deck. So this is inside the tank. Also on the picture it's visually visible that it's anti-corrosion. It's coated or stainless steel made out of the stainless steel tanks. So here you see the stripping pump, deep well pump, all working to discharge chemicals from tank without any leftovers. This is a washing installation. So it's a picture. So and from these two sides, the heated chemicals are rotating and it washes the inside the tank. So the regulation of IMO, according to Solos Convention, so Article 8 requires IBC code from July 1986, and the MarPol Convention Annex 2, which is revised and updated. So this is regulations applicable to the chemical tankers. IBC code requires ship design and equipment for the chemical tankers. International Bulk Carrier Code, IBC code. Safe transport by sea of dangerous chemicals and noxious liquids. So mandatory under the Solos Convention and MarPol Convention. So it's international standards established by these two conventions. IBC code creates a subdivision tanks. So there are type 1, independent tank. So type 2, it's an integral tank. Type G, gravity tank, and type P, it's pressure tank. So there are also, according to chapter 4, the slope tanks and ballast tanks. But for the transportation, these 4 types, type 1, 2, G, and P, are very important to understand what is difference between them. So here on the picture you see independent tanks. So independent tanks, that means that they are not part of the hull of the vessel. They can be installed inside the vessel, as you hear here it's some cistern, so here it's also tank, but it's not integrated to the hull of the vessel. And also they can be installed on the deck of chemical tanker. So integral tanks are part of the main hull of the vessel. So you see, so these integral tanks are part of the hull of the vessel. Here it's another picture with explanation. So what we have a minimum, it's requirement of MarPol convention. So minimum 2-meter double hull throughout the entire cargo area, which helps safeguard against pollution from cargo in case of the grounding or some other. So on deck of this chemical tanker, you see these examples. It's cisterns, yes, on both sides of on deck. So it's a independent tanks with own system, with own line, with dedicated line. So what is important also? 2 longitudinal cofferdams improve integrity of ship structure and cargo stowage flexibility. This part is a longitudinal cofferdams. And also ultra shallow pump well. The system is required by the Annex 2. So, and super efficient cargo pumps minimize cargo residues. So no leftovers in tank are required. Certificate of fitness. So the this another certificate different from IOPP, International Oil Pollution Prevention Certificate. It's specific for the chemical tanker. Certificate of Fitness, COF. COF, so sorry, 5 years validity. Also the same system of the surveys. So, and this certificate should be issued by authority or classification society. The ship must fulfill IBC code requirements to have this certificate, and for each tank it also should be very specified certificate. So why it's so? Because the chemicals can be very different by nature. So, and after discharge on one type, you cannot discharge directly another type of chemical in the same tank. So IBC code makes subdivisions chemical tankers with different requirements in terms of environmental and safety hazards. So there are 3 types. So it's different from integrated, independent, type G, type P types. So this is type 1, type 2, type 3 tanks for the environmental and safety hazards division. So type 1, it's very maximum preventive measures. So this is below this text you can find the explanation. Type 1, this double side, double bottom, very maximum preventive measures from the discharge in case of grounding, for example. Type 2, appreciable significant preventive measures. So it also double hull, double bottom, but of course it's not very maximum, and you see it's slightly different from the type 1. Type 3, it's a sufficiently moderate degree of containment to increase survival capability in damaged condition. So it's a single hull vessels, single well chemical tankers. So, Chapter 1, Regulation 1 defines difference between clean ballast and segregated ballast. Two types of tankers, chemical tankers and NLS tankers, noxious liquid substances tanker. So they carry out NLS as a cargo. So chemical tankers, the requirements for them described in chapter 17 of IBC code. Every ship shall be provided with a procedures and arrangements manual complying with IMO standards. This is very important document on board of every chemical tanker. P&A manual. P&A manual, which stands again for the procedures and arrangements manual. Every crew member should be familiarized and sign up for this familiarization by P&A manual. Such manual shall be approved in case of Hong Kong ship by the director, or in the case of ship registered in a state party to MarPol, by or on behalf of the government on the state. A manual approved in accordance with the paragraph 2 shall be deemed to comply with IMO standards. The P&A manual shall be kept on board the ship in such a place as to be readily available for inspection. So you see this very important document. So Port State Control will check it in the first time. The procedures and arrangements manual shall, in case of Hong Kong, this is a language requirements actually, yes. You see in English or in English in French. So, Chapter 1 of Annex 2, revised requirements may not be used before 2007, but in nowadays, of course, it's already in force. Yeah. Carriage of non-assessed, non-categorized products is confirmed prohibited. So it means every chemical should be on list of IMO. So non-assessment means prohibited. Regulation 3 is a new after a revision of Annex 2. So exceptions of on NLS discharge requirements in case of serious threat to safety of the ship or the crew, after damage to the ship or equipment when necessary in order to minimize the damage from pollution. So we need to keep it in mind that in these cases, the discharge, of course, not good, but you can not do anything else. So there are categorization of chemicals. Category X creates a major hazards and discharge completely prohibited to the sea. Because what is important to remember, these chemicals can be collected in the fish's body, in the other species, maritime species, and after that it can, through the fishermen nets, came on table of a human. So please be aware about this. Category Y, it's still hazard, discharge limited, so very small amount of these hazards can be discharged. And category Z, minor hazards, less strength restrictions, and all of them still considered as a poison. So because not only quality but also the quantity. So the MarPol Annex 2 Chapter 2 Regulation 6. So for NLS tanker as type 3, except for cargo tanks carrying vegetable oils. So wing tanks should be not less than 760 millimeters and double bottom more than 1 meter height. So guidelines for the transport of vegetable oils in deep tanks or in independent tanks specially designed for the carriage of such vegetable oils on board dry cargo ships. So you see the also should be certified. So regulation 6, for the purpose of the regulation of this annex, NLS should be divided into 4 categories: X, Y, Z. So in category OS, no restrictions, it's a OS, other substances. So the requirements in chapter 18 of IBC code. So what are OS category? Other substances. It can be apple juice, clay slurry, coal slurry, dextrose solution, glucose solution, kaolin slurry, molasses, and just water. May be carried without a certificate. Two slides are just empty. Yeah, sorry. MarPol Annex 2, Chapter 3, Regulation 7 describes surveys and certification. NLS certificate is an International Pollution Prevention Certificate. Such certificates are mandatory for ships carrying noxious liquid substances in bulk. So, and here you see the Regulation 8. The same system for the oil tankers. 5 years. It's a period of the full certification. So imagine the vessel just built out by the shipyard. So it goes through the initial complete certification, then every year annual and intermediate. Yes, intermediate equipment operation. So and periodical after 5 years. So the slide is a little bit broken, I see, but I explained. Okay, an annual survey within 3 months before or after each anniversary date of the certificate. An additional survey, either general or partial, according to the circumstances, shall be made after a repair resulting from investigations or whenever any important repairs or renewals are made. So, as the oil tankers, the certification and survey period is same. MarPol Annex 3, Chapter Annex 2, MarPol Annex 2, Chapter 3, Regulation 9, issue of or endorsement of certificate. So no IPP certificate for NLS to non-party ships, but should have a COF, so certificate of fitness. So Regulation 12, pumping, piping, unloading arrangements and slope tanks. So the requirements for discharge for the discharge of these chemicals are becoming more and more strict. So you see, before 1986 it was 300 liters maximum, and substances type Z 900 liters. So before 2007 it became less than 100 liters and 300 liters for Z, and after 2007 it minimized to the maximum amount of 75 liters for all substances. And what else? It should be, the vessel should be equipped with underwater outlet. So not on surface, yes, but it should be discharged in deeper layers of the sea. Regulation 13, control of discharges of NLS. So discharge provisions and discharge standards. So we're allowed. So this is standards for the discharge of XYZ. So ship speed should be more than 7 knots. Discharge below the surface of the water, so it means underwater. Outside 12 nautical miles zone, so outside of territorial sea, any country, and depths should be in this area more than 25 meters. Regulation 13, operational requirements for ballasting and deballasting. Discharge in Antarctic Sea completely prohibited. So this is also should be kept in mind. So Antarctic Sea completely 100% prohibited. So MarPol Annex 2, Regulation 15, so it's a cargo record book. In case of Annex 1, we had oil record book, type 1, type 2. Here we have a cargo record book. So, and this is a sample of these book entries. What kind of measures of control? Authorized surveyors, master responsibilities, all of them are described in Regulation 16 of Annex 2. SOPEP, Shipboard Oil Pollution Emergency Plan. So this is not oil, but anyway, so this plan should be on board of every ship more than 150 gross tonnage and based on IMO guidelines. So reception facilities, each party to the convention ensure and shall to maintain to create a reception facility. So this is Regulation 18. This code is question. This slide is a questionnaire. So which code is related to this annex? Please try to find an answer. How many categories do you know? Category of NLS chemicals. What abbreviations stand for NLS, ppm, SOPEP, IBC, and BCC? At this point, we will finish our presentation. Thank you very much for your attention and good luck.